Good morning and welcome to morning messages of hope and inspiration. Have you ever looked up the definition of peace? All, all the girls on, Miss USA, what do you wish for? World peace. But what does peace really mean? Okay, here's a definition I found. Let's see. Freedom from disquieting or oppressive thoughts or emotions. Can I repeat that? This awesome definition of peace. Freedom from disquieting or oppressive thoughts or emotions. So there was a time in my life I really needed peace. Like I was struggling with oppressive thoughts, with disquieting thoughts. Like I had racing thoughts in my mind all the time, and just the emotions and the fear and the anxiety were so great. Like it was hell. I really, really struggled with racing thoughts and was not experiencing a lot of peace. And it wasn't until I went and saw a wonderful clinical psychologist who was also a great believer in Jesus Christ, who taught me this one principle. He said, what if those oppressive thoughts, what if those racing thoughts aren't your own? What if you're not the source of those thoughts? That one thought, that one thing decreased my anxiety by 50%. What if I wasn't the source of those disquieting and oppressive thoughts? What if someone was trying to rob me of peace? Many times in this life, we are tempted to believe that Satan's temptations are our own thoughts. What if they're not? What if Satan is real? What if he really is trying to steal our peace through our thoughts? What if he's just throwing things at us and seeing what we'll catch and what we'll be obsessed with and dwell on? What if we really have an enemy? And what if Jesus really is our Savior? And if he really can give us peace? I testify Christ is the giver of peace, and he giveth it not as the world giveth, but as he does. That he wants us to experience more peace in our life. But in having to do that, we need to learn to have the mind of Christ. We need to think godlike thoughts. There's this great book called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. I think it was written in like the late 1800s. And it was mind-changing for me. It helped me become more aware of my thoughts. And one of the challenges in this life is learning to discern between good and evil, between the evil temptations of the adversary and the peaceful thoughts of the Spirit, of God, of our soul communing with him. One of the easiest ways I can tell it's Satan is how I respond to them. Am I afraid? Am I ashamed? Do I not want to talk to others? Do I want to hide? Do I have social anxiety? Is my nervousness and anxiety increasing, or am I totally sad and depressed? What if those thoughts are not your own? What if there really is an adversary who is seeking to take you down and steal your peace and happiness? What if Satan is real? Now, I don't see Satan like those little shoulder devils from the cartoons, but it's not totally off. I think he says things in a way that it sounds like us, and that's why we are tempted to believe it is us. But what if it isn't? What if it isn't? What if Satan is real? And what if he attacks our minds with oppressive thoughts and disquieting thoughts that lead to terrifying emotions and fear that lead us away from peace? I testify peace is real, but we have to learn to discern between the temptations of the adversary and the sweet, quiet words of the Spirit. We get to choose which thoughts we entertain as our own. We need to watch our thoughts, be aware of them. And that takes work. It took me so much work to learn to ignore the temptations of the adversary and go, that's his. I don't need to take responsibility for his temptations. I just need to take responsibility for how I choose to respond respond to his temptations? And what if he's tempting me with thoughts? What if he's tempting me to feel not good enough, or not pretty enough, or that I'm not loved? I hear so many people say, I'm not good enough. And I know who the source of that thought is. I know Satan is around, and he's trying to rob us of peace. I testify he is real, but the power and strength of the Savior is so much greater. And if we plead to him, he can guide us to people to help us learn. It took me a while to find someone who could teach me to discern between Satan and the Spirit and help me recognize that I am a child of God and I am loved, and it's okay if I mess up and I don't need to be perfect. That God's grace is real and he will strengthen me and help me do whatever he asks me to do. But I have an enemy, and he's out there. But God will help me defeat him. God will win. And Jesus Christ has already suffered all things so he can help me overcome my weaknesses and my temptations. I testify God's peace is real. But we have to become aware of our thoughts. And as we choose to see Satan for who he is, the destroyer of our peace, who's seeking to destroy our soul and lead us carefully to hell, when we can see him, then we can defend ourselves. But if we don't know there's an enemy, how would we ever fight? I testify Jesus Christ will help us, that peace is real, and God will prevail. Thank you for joining me in Morning Messages of Hope and Inspiration. I love you. Have a great day.